I lost my signal for a little bit there. We have bad weather here. It's very windy, so we'll see if we can keep this going. If not, we'll just have to stop. But yeah, I am going back to work tomorrow, and I'm not sure how I feel about it still. I know I'm going to be really busy, and I'm happy to go back to work, but it's just, I'm not sure. And yeah, today I wanted to talk about not coming out the same that you went in, and I wanted to just see what everybody thought about that and how this has changed them. And I know for me, it's made me a lot less fearful of people. Good morning, John. So this has made me a lot less fearful of people, and I say that from the brave space of my own home where, I don't have to deal with people. And we'll see how it goes tomorrow when I go back, of whether I'm afraid of people again. I'm not afraid of people. I'm just afraid of um, speaking, I guess, speaking to people that I know probably won't get it and will probably think I'm a weirdo talking about things that would be more important than just how's the weather and how much of your house did you clean while you were in quarantine. Because from what I can see on the bits of social media that I do look at, everybody's remodeling and cleaning, and that's been their story of quarantine. So, and cleaning was the story of mine for the first little bit. Still congested, but I feel fine. I think we're going to find out here in Wisconsin in a month that opening the state the way that they did all of a sudden like this with no precautions and no limitations, it was a mistake. But maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe it'll be just the same. I expect the numbers to take a big jump. And then, I told my husband I'm happy to go back to work because I kind of miss having a schedule. But I'm wondering how long it's going to last. Are they going to let us out and then the numbers are going to jump way up again because everybody is out and about, and then we won't, and then the numbers are going to jump up and they're going to lock us up again. Maybe just cut the hair of intuitive feelers. Yeah, maybe I'll have to do a questionnaire before they come in to the salon. Much like they're doing like temperature screenings for people now. I would just be like, how does your brain work? Fill out this survey, and if you're an intuitive feeler, then we can have a conversation. Oh, and look, Chico is in here again, and he decided to be in the shot, even though he's going to just sleep the whole time, I'm guessing. I do have really good conversations. Put herbalist over the door, that works. I should. Then I'll get all kinds of good people, right? If I put herbalist over the door. Yeah, or some other quirky thing. If I put, I can't even think of what I could put on the door besides herbalist. We don't have any herbalists around here, so that would probably be a good thing to do if I knew enough about it. Spiritual haircut. Sometimes it is that. Sometimes, you get some clients that really want to talk about deep things, and I get pretty involved and I have some really good conversations with people. Oh, Chico, you're awake. Well, hi. He says, I want you to, he likes to go, he goes to work with me, so he's really excited to get back to work because he loves the grannies that come in. Yeah, you can't sit in my lap, buddy. You gotta stay right there so everybody can look at you. He says, I'll try this side. Yeah, I'm excited for conversations at work. to talk to the people. Although I know it's probably going to just be, you know, same as it was before, but maybe not. I mean, maybe a lot of people kind of have had a little more of a thinking experience since they were home. But in the part of the country that I live, there's a lot of essential workers. I don't know what the percentage was of people that were actually home, but it wasn't very high. We have a lot of mills and factories and things like that. So a lot of essential workers. So I think most people were working. And I know my husband was pretty jealous of my 6 weeks at home, and he would have liked to have been home instead. He would have liked to switch places with me. But I don't want to work where he works, so I don't want to switch places with him. And I just told him, it seems like if you get to stay home, you're lucky. But I didn't want to stay home. If I would have had a choice, I would have gone to work. I know I should have given you guys this topic probably last night or yesterday, so you had some time to think about it. I just forgot. I'm trying to decide what I needed to do before I went back to work, and I was a little frustrated because my beauty supply store was closed when I went there for sanitation for 4 days. They must have. Oh yeah, and I have to say, I say those things too to people I don't know very well, like, are you done with work for the day? Are you going in? Are you going fishing? What did you do with your day today? That kind of stuff. Hello, Walter. Good morning. Hey, so you changed your picture. You never responded. You changed your picture, Walter, and it was a picture of a young man. Was that you? Cover my cough even though I'm in here alone. Well, I have Chico, but yeah, the Converse, that was me 20 years ago. Oh, it's a nice picture. I think my husband's Facebook profile picture is about that old too, because that's when he felt like he looked his best. So he has that picture. It's kind of funny. He's holding our newborn daughter, who is 18 years old. And I don't know. I feel like I look so different. I wouldn't want to put my. Speaking of pictures, I decided I'm good. I'm very good. I decided to start an Instagram, probably out of boredom, the other day. And then it's nice to see you again too. It's Monday. We're live streaming. So I decided to open an Instagram account, and it maybe so that there's a place that we can have conversation, I guess, a little bit, because they have like that direct messenger, and I didn't want to necessarily open up my Facebook, and I don't use Facebook that much, to like my YouTube audience. So I did start an Instagram a couple days ago, and I hadn't even posted anything to it. I did this morning because I think I'll use it for, well, anyway, I've already kind of decided it's not for me. I immediately had, did you? Yes, I finished my coffee. Good Monday morning, David. I finished my coffee. I usually have that done by like 9 a.m. and now I'm on to my kombucha. So, hello, Maya. Yeah, I'm not sure if Instagram's for me, because initially, right away, I had like 20 men follow me, and I've already had like 3 inappropriate messages right away. I'm like, come on. I just, so I'm not sure, but I do have an Instagram now if you want to hop over there at some point and follow me. I'm not really sure what Instagram's all about, but it's the same, Joyous Prairies, one word. I drink my coffee with cream, like heavy cream, and I put some kind of sweetener in it. I used to use sugar, but now I use like stevia or maple syrup, or sometimes, oh, now you nailed it the first time. So it was Mia, I think. Sometimes I'll drink my coffee with just cream in it. I have drank black coffee if I was trying to stay away from dairy or something, but I don't really like it like that. I like it sweet and light. I also like my tea. If I'm drinking chai, I like it with a little cream in it as well. I used to drink coffee in the afternoon, but not anymore. I do love it though. Yeah, too much caffeine is not good. And I often say that I'm like immune to caffeine, but I did notice how much, as I get older, how much it affects me later in the day. And if I, at work, a lot of times, what is your favorite color? I like a lot of colors. I can't even say what my favorite is. Like to wear. I tend to wear more like purple, black, gray, um, or bright colors. I I don't know what my favorite color is. I used to know, but I love all the colors. I think not brown so much. I like all the pretty bright colors, like the flowery sort of things. Yeah, they color makes me happy. My house has a lot of color in it, and I like all the flowers outside with all the different colors. Yeah, Instagram, I'm trying to see. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not a dating app. What in the world? You get all these people right away looking for romance or something. I don't know. So I don't know how long that's gonna last. But I have an Instagram. If I'm not over there ever, you'll know why. If you need to ask your first client, do you ever wonder if the sun is conscious? That'll get you through. Or John, they'll just run away. They'll be like, oh, quarantine was not good for her. She's even weirder than before she left. No, most likely because I will be going to work with a mask. Most likely they're going to talk about that. They're going to ask me what I did with myself, that kind of thing. Um, the people that know me, my clients that know me, they're going to ask me, were we sick? Was my husband sick? Is he still working? That kind of stuff. They're going to, and mostly we're going to probably talk about how bad their hair is because it's been at least 6 weeks, if not longer, for some people since they got their hair done. Well, I'm not back to work yet. I I'm going to go back tomorrow. I know that I have a full schedule because as soon as we announced on our Facebook salon page that we were opening again, we got all kinds of messages and phone calls. So it's going to be really busy and I'm probably going to be tired because my hairdressing muscles are not in shape anymore. I have been, other than my family, I haven't been doing hair at all. I didn't do any like secret home haircuts or anything. I gave, probably my two boys and my husband two haircuts in this time, and that's been about it. I gave my daughter a haircut. She gave me a haircut. But my hairdressing muscles are going to be weak, and I'm also not used to standing on my feet for 10 hours, so that's going to be an adjustment. It's amazing how quickly you get out of shape. So I'm going to probably be a hurting unit by Friday. Good morning. Hello. It is super windy out today. We had rain all day yesterday. It must be hard when you can't. Yours just falls out naturally. Uh, um, yeah, when you work in a salon, there's topics. When you work in a salon in the public like that, there's topics that you really shouldn't talk about. When I went to beauty school, which is, forever ago, they said don't talk about religion, sex, and politics. So we don't talk about those things. And generally, people will try to bring it up, and it's hard to not have an opinion because you don't want to irritate the person in your chair, and then you still have so much time left for the haircut, so you would still have to deal with them or make them not want to return to the salon because you had an opinion that they didn't agree with. And but sometimes I do talk about those things. I have clients that I've had for 16 plus, almost 20 years, and it and we have a good relationship, so we can talk about those things. And but it is hard when you can't, when someone comes in and just lambasts you with this opinion of theirs that you don't agree with. You kind of have to just smile and nod. I told my son when he started working, and he's an INTP. When he started working, he worked as like a bagger at a grocery store, and he said, people say all these things to him. And I just told him, well, you just smile and nod. You're not required to hold a conversation as a bagger, but people, all these adults would say things to him, try to mother him, different things. And he wouldn't really know how to respond. So it's a lot of smiling and nodding when people bring up things that aren't, I don't know, but it depends on the person. You can kind of feel people out because sometimes I know when I can say things that might be, I don't know if offensive is the right word, but say things that might be controversial or things that I actually are my opinion. But it is hard sometimes when you can't, when you have to just like la 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 along with the small talk. And generally, I just talk about my chickens a lot then. And I know I missed some comments here. Oh, let's see here. It's stuck in my mind more than reality. Yeah, that happens to me a lot at work, especially if I'm in the middle of like a hair color service, because that does take some time. I will get in my mind a little bit, and I almost have to snap myself out of it. There are photos of me at work that people would have taken over the years, and I'm usually like this, just staring off into space because I'm in my head. I do get tired at work, but if I'm real busy, I don't notice it until the end of the day when I sit down in my car. And my family is very good. My boys had a little bit of issue at the beginning with the online schooling, but I think we've got that under control. And now my daughter has done online schooling since 8th grade, so for 4 years. So she was frustrated with them that they weren't getting it, but it was kind of just thrown at them, from. And my older son would like to go back to school. He does not like homeschooling or online schooling, and I'm of no help to them. I can't help my junior in high school with trigonometry. I just told him, I'm like, well, there's Google. You can use that. But I am definitely going to, yeah, some changes that are going to happen for me here at work. Take an interesting object each day and place it in front of them. It's amazing, John, what people don't notice about the environment at the salon, because, we will have things sitting there for a while, and it's like a month later and they're like, "Oh, how long has that been there?" Like they don't see stuff. We'll move the furniture around and things, and we did have to do that to kind of open up the flow a little bit, and people will ask if we have new furniture. It's odd what people don't notice, and I'm guilty of that too. I don't always notice things. um, but I am going to work less. I was working too much, um, 4 or 5 days a week, and I know a lot of people work 4 or 5 days a week, and a lot of moms and women work full time. But I did it for the last 2 years, and it's just too much for me. Things fall apart at home, and I feel like I'm not taking care of my family as much as I should, because I'm just so exhausted from all the peopling and all the socialness while I'm at work. and I'm taking care of people all day long. And then when I come home, I just have nothing left. And then I kind of beat myself up for, whatever doesn't get done at home as far as like the physical tasks, but even in connecting with my family, I just didn't have anything left for them. So I am only going to work. I say this, but the pressure of clients calling and stuff. I am only going to work 3 days a week instead of 4 or 5. David, I work with one other person. She is she is technically the salon owner as she opened it, but I rent space from her. So we are separate entities in the same building. So we do work together. We're going to do 4 days. Yeah, and 4 days, John, was pretty manageable for me. But in the summer, when I have gardening and stuff to do, I don't have to do gardening, but I love to do gardening. When I have my veggies and chickens and all of that, I need more time, because what was happening is I was spending, 4 or 5 days at work. Then on my days off, I would be running for my first day off, I would be running for groceries and running for supplies for the salon. And then my second day off, I would be cleaning my house and doing all my house chores. And then there wouldn't necessarily be a day to, like settle down and recharge and hang out with my family and give them what they need. And then, I got left for last. So I feel like 3 10-hour days for me is kind of where it's at. But we'll see how that goes. If I can fit all my clients into 3 days, I would rather work 3 long, brutal days than 4 or 5 where I have time in between. And I have worked in a salon where there was a lot of employees. The previous salon that I worked at, well, my boss retired out of that salon, so it closed. There was 10 stylists at one point, and I have to say that was super exhausting. It was very difficult to work with all those personalities. I usually work 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So 9 to 7. And as I make my own schedule, I don't really schedule in breaks. I do get a few minutes here and there to sit while colors processing or whatever, but I don't really schedule in breaks. And I would prefer to work straight through so my day goes and I'm productive. Because once I sit down, then I start to feel tired. So they are long days, but that is kind of the thing that works best for me. So I work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I was working Fridays before this, but now I'm just going to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and my schedule is 9 to 7. But of course, if I don't book in the morning or the evening, then I either come in late or leave early because I'm my own boss, so I can do what I want. And then if I do need an extra day off, I just take it off. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those are my days to go into work, and 10 hours. It's long and brutal, but I do enjoy it. I miss it. Chico misses it too, because he loves the salon. This is what he does at the salon, though. He just lays on one of our couches and waits for people to pet him. We've got blueberries today in our kombucha. I still can't believe that the state Supreme Court here overturned the stay at home. Oh, John, can you, when this video is done loading, or when on another one of my videos, can you put that in the comments? Because, I will definitely look into that. I've tried lots of different things. And some have worked and some haven't. But if you could, because these live comments, they disappear once this video is uploaded, which is a disappointment to me, because I think, especially for my husband who likes to watch the live stream back. He would like to be able to see those live comments. So if you could just put that somewhere else. I've not heard of that one. She Sandra. Thank you, John. I've tried like different things for anxiety. Hi, the Watcher. Metro project station supervisor. So that probably does that allow a lot of does that involve a lot of people? I know that I'll butcher your name, so I'm not trying to say it. It's I'm going to try to say it anyway. Rahman. Abdul Rahman? Is that right? I plan to be live every Monday at 11. That is my plan for now. And we'll just see how it works out because, prior to this week, I have all the time in the world. But now I'm back to work, so it might push me a little bit to put out a video Monday morning and then also live stream, but that's okay. It's good to be pushed, I think, sometimes. Trying to be braver and out of my comfort zone, a little bit more. And this is definitely it. Out of my comfort zone. The metro. What's a metro project? Is that like a yeah, I am central time zone in Wisconsin. So it's central daylight time because we have daylight savings. We like to challenge ourselves every day, ourselves anyway. Yeah, I do. I like to challenge myself, but then at the same time be comfortable. It's kind of, I like to learn new things and really dive into them to the point where I, want to be like an expert on stuff. But then at the same time, I want it in my own way. I want to be comfortable. So when things aren't comfortable, when things aren't comfortable, it makes it hard for me to keep doing something. You know, my I was in PIO classes and I stopped going months ago because the emotional environment there was not good. It started out really good, but then it became it's all ladies, and there was a lot of like jealousy and a lot of like I'm trying to think of the right word, but a lot of people feeling better than other people as far as like they were better than the other people. Not skill wise, but like they had a higher station in society. And that made me stop going because I just didn't feel comfortable. I kept picking up like everybody was like feeling more important than the person next to them, but at the same time they were jealous of the other person's body, which it just irritated me. And I like show off people. Yeah, like people that have like a higher status, like they have a nicer car, they have nicer clothes. They want to talk about how much they spent on the pair of stretchy pants they're wearing. And then at the same time, there's like just these bad feelings, like they feel bad about themselves, they feel bad about their bodies because, the instructor of course is like perfectly shaped and, her body looks like you would imagine a PIO instructor's body would look like. So I had a really hard time the last few times I went to class. Do you read much, John? Right now, no. But I go into seasons of like devouring books and then I stop for a while for some reason. I I have a huge stack of books that my father-in-law brought me because he's a big reader. He has like the most amazing library I've ever seen, and he brings me books to read. Do you work out at home? No. I wish I was dedicated to do that. No, at home I do like farm chores, you know. I've tried to work out at home. I can't focus. And, then the cat's crawling on me, the dog is barking, the kids are walking in and out. I can't work out at home. But I want to go back to the gym. I want to go back to my PIO classes because it really was good for me, physically and emotionally to go. But yeah, I just have to see what the atmosphere is going to be like again because it's really hard to shut that off. You think I could just go there and work out and ignore the other people and what they're feeling and what's going on with them and the whole environment, emotional environment. But I just couldn't. When you read books, for example, do you feel like jumping from topic to completely different one? No. I generally, when I am like interested in a topic, I will read everything that I can get my hands on about it until I feel like either it doesn't interest me anymore or I'm satisfied with the knowledge that I've acquired for it. But I tend to be like a bit obsessive with a topic, a bit obsessive with my research into a topic. What are your all-time top 5 movies? I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of movies. I have a hard time focusing on TV or movies. I just finished I finished watching the series Anne with an E on Netflix, and that was really good. For me to be captivated to watch a show or a movie, it has to be really good. It has to be really good because I get distracted and then my mind starts wandering and then I can't really like focus on it. So I have a hard time watching movies and even sometimes YouTube videos, which is a lot of times why I try to keep mine short because it's hard for me to stay focused when I watch videos. So I don't want other people to be bored, I guess. Not that I get bored. My mind just keeps running. It's hard for me to keep it focused on something to really pay attention. So it has to be really good. So I guess I can't even tell you what my 5 favorite movies are. I don't know. Um, Lately, I like end of the world movies and pandemic movies. Or you go biking 5 times a week. Yeah, my husband and I go for walks. And I really like that. Do you like to hike and being out in nature? Oh, well, nature is my favorite place. And I do like to hike. My husband doesn't necessarily like a lot of activity. So he does, but he's not in good physical shape right now. So it's hard for him to walk for very long. And I don't like to hike alone unless I like to be out in nature in my yard because it feels safe. But I wouldn't want to go like on some hiking trails somewhere alone because I don't feel safe. And I don't think that my little dog would protect me very much. So, but when I went out west by my brother in Oregon, that's all we did. And yes, I loved it so much. I like to look at like the plants and the trees and the rocks and the dirt and the water and look around at all of that. And I can get really lost in that kind of environment. Ugh, I love it. But I walk around my yard a lot and I walk around, property and stuff. And there's a tree farm next to me and they have some interesting things back there. So I like to walk on those trails. But as far as just going out hiking, it doesn't happen by myself because it's It's too scary for me. I live in a safe place. I don't know why it would be scary. I feel alive in that environment. Yeah, me too. I feel the most myself when I'm out in nature. I there's a book called The Secret Garden, which is a really old book, and they made several movies of it. But one of them, wow, 10 miles yesterday. I don't know. I would love to be able to do that. I'm trying to work my husband's physical shape up into enough to do that, but his yeah, he's got to take better care of himself, and I've kind of given up on taking care of him physically because it's not my responsibility. So he's got to take better care of himself so we can go on longer hikes. Anyway, there's this movie, The Secret Garden, and there's one part where the man's wife is calling him, and she's calling, "I'm in the garden." And I feel like that was kind of the story of my life, because my kids would be like yelling for me from the house, and I'd be yelling, "I'm in the garden," because that's where I always was. Because I feel, like you said, Walter, I feel most alive there. 1 mile. 10 miles is unbelievable. Good for you. I'm not so big on the biking, but hiking, walking in the woods, seeing all the things, yeah, it's a good place to be. It's a good, like, mind wandering and filling up your senses kind of thing. Just like I really enjoy watching storms roll in, and I'm looking out my window that's behind me because it's super windy today and everything's just blowing all over the place. I was a little concerned that we're going to have some trees down because we have a lot of popple on our property, and they fall down just because they fall down. So I was a little concerned about that today. But so far, so good. We'll see. I'm always concerned one's going to like crash on top of my chicken house or take my fence out, and then I'm going to have to run out there real quick in a storm and try to fix it when my husband's not home, you know. Yeah, John, I really enjoy it, and it's kind of funny because when I was a younger person, probably under the age of 30, maybe, I couldn't stand the smell of farms and the idea of, I always grew flowers because I like their beauty, but I couldn't, I could never have imagined that I would have critters in my backyard that poop everywhere, you know? And I could never have imagined that I would be able to process a chicken for the freezer. Um, but it's interesting how life changes you and what you decide is good. But it's not something I wanted when I was younger. It's just something that progressively happened, I guess. And it's been really good for me. Oh, yeah. Oh, pig farms. Ooh, they stink. My friend raises pigs, and we get our um yeah, we get our pork from my friend, and yeah, they are stinky, but his are pastured, so it's not too bad, and he doesn't have very many. Do you have trouble editing and rewatching your videos with our low SE? Many struggle. Um, well, I have trouble editing because I don't really edit them because that is just too. It, I don't know. It just bothered me too much. I tried at the beginning because I thought they needed to look a certain way for people to want to watch them. But then I just gave up on that because I was no good at it, and that seemed like work to me, and I didn't want this to be like work. Um, Initially, I had a really hard time, yeah, watching the videos back because I didn't like the sound to hear my voice. I didn't like the, facial things that I did. I didn't like lots of things. You notice all of these things that you do, And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't think I can. And I want to say, like, how did I overcome it? It's called immersion therapy. You just do it over and over and over. And eventually you're like, yeah, I look fine. Hopefully somebody understood what I was talking about, and it'll be fine. And I think the benefit that you get out of it outweighs that part. Um, I have a hard time rewatching my older videos because I can see where I progressed in my delivery, I guess. And I don't have as much fear now as I did at the beginning. I mean, I can see a lot of fear and anxiety in the beginning of my videos, and don't go watch them because it's embarrassing. But unless you guys have been around for that long and you have seen them, yeah, the progression is kind of interesting. But sometimes when somebody makes a comment on an old video, I have to go back in and rewatch it because so I can have some reference of what they're talking about. And yeah, it's just you just do it over and over again, and eventually you get over it. You know, you kind of, but it's still a little bit. It is still a little bit odd to see yourself on a video, to see yourself talking and your mannerisms and that kind of thing. And people notice things, they'll comment on certain things, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I never noticed that about myself. But that's just part of it. Oh, usually bike 20 miles. Good for you, Lowell. That is just fantastic. I have always like, wanted in my mind to be some kind of like athletic person. And, I used to be a runner when I was in school and ended up with stress fractures, so I can't run anymore. But I always just like desired that, and I never was able to achieve it. And I know you just have to start. You just have to do it. But I can never fit it in, but because I choose not to fit it in, that's what it is. Yeah, pigs are John, pigs are pretty cool animals. Very intelligent. I know that my friends breeder pigs, the adults that he keeps, they test that fence every single day to make sure. They run that perimeter of that fence to see if they can get out. I mean, they are thinking. Thank you, the watcher. Thank you. That is my intention. Um, but again, I never thought I was going to like reach an audience. I guess, just like all of us, we think we're the only ones, that are like this. I thought once I got to like 200 subscribers, not that I have a whole ton, but I never thought I'd make it to 1,000, and or even beyond that. I'm still kind of like, well, I'm gonna probably just stick around 1,000. That's manageable for me. I do appreciate every single new subscriber and new commenter, and it's super cool. But I guess I thought I was gonna stay around 200 and maximum 5. Lowell, that you do great in the camera. Thank you. That has been a practiced thing. It's like immersion therapy, making videos several times a week, deleting a bunch of them. You know, it's it's just practice to be. And my youngest son, had given me the best advice probably that I've gotten about making videos, because I would tell him, before I hit record, I am so nervous, and I still get nervous. I take a couple deep breaths before I start. He just said, Mom, it's not live. If it's junk, you just delete it and you start over. I'm like, oh. But now that we are live, it's like, here I am, just doing whatever. But oh, 1 week ago, you never knew about INFJs. So how did you find out then? You take a test, or you're just watching videos? Yeah, I don't know a lot about, I can see all my analytics and stuff, but I don't really know a lot about that. And I kind of made a decision a few months ago that I was not going to focus on trying to gain subscribers, trying to have more views, trying to have, I was I didn't want to get into the game of that to make it about numbers. So I don't really look at my analytics too much anymore. I do look at them sometimes, just to see. I don't even know what they mean, so I don't know what I'm looking at. But I really am just trying to focus on, like you said, being authentic, having something to talk about that has some meaning, and to interact and make a connection to the people, to my viewers, to my subscribers that I do have. And I know eventually once you grow, you can't keep. I will have to let some comments go. I won't be able to respond and read every comment eventually if I keep growing, but that's just part of it. But for now, I mean, it could stay where it's at and I'd be totally satisfied with where it is, because I do appreciate you guys so much. It just makes a huge difference in my life to know that there's other people out there. Oh, cross one and then I kept digging. Yeah. It kind of works that way, I think, for a lot of people, unless you're out looking for it. Because I knew I was an INFJ probably for the last 13 years, but until a couple years ago, I tried making a video. When I rewatched it, I about cried. Yeah, it's it is real tricky at the beginning. You get used to it. Yeah, I could definitely see myself getting wrapped up, if I allowed it, getting wrapped up into the YouTube thing where that's all I thought about. Or, oh no, my trash bin is rolling down the road in the wind. Oh, now it came back it's in the ditch now, so it's safe. It's real windy out. Um, I get obsessed with things, so I know that if I allowed it, I could easily get into a place where I was constantly looking at analytics, reading comments, reading into things, doing research, obsessing, overthinking about my content, trying to strategize and do these other things. But I kind of had to make a decision that that's not what I'm going to do. This is a side thing. This is not the main thing of my life. And even though it's been super, super helpful and I love it so much, I didn't want it to become obsessive, because if I tied myself and my self-worth up in number of subscribers, views, and comments, that can be a pretty slippery slope, because there's days where you think something's going to do so well and you think your video is so great. Well, I never think any of them are so great, but you think something is going to go and it doesn't, or people don't react to it in a way that you thought they would, or you get one bad comment, which unfortunately just ruins all the good ones for you. Or not all of them, but you know what I mean. It can bring you down. So I had consciously to make the decision that I could not obsess over it. And it's just continuing to do it and getting more comfortable and realizing that, there's people, even in a group of INFJs, 5 of us, we're all going to be a little bit different. Oh, I might have watched that. I like the TED Talks. Those are really interesting to me. I watch a lot of them. I watched Billy Graham do one. That was pretty cool. But I have the book about that HSP, highly sensitive person, and I've read through about half of it, and I can say that I identify with a lot of it, but maybe I'm just not ready to do some of the things in the book that she suggests to do. Or maybe I'm just not ready to accept that part of myself. But I can definitely, when she describes what it's like to be an HSP, I definitely can identify with that. Hello. I'm trying to make sure my trash bin is not rolling down the street. I find it terrible when people get depressed or sick. I feel guilty. That makes me want to stop. Yep. Me too, Eric. I have a really hard time feeling settled myself when the people around me are not settled. Um, if someone in my household is sad, it just like tears me up. And I do have a hard time in groups of people if they are depressed or sad or despairing, because I will pick that up. And I used to think it was that I was depressed. I mean, I do have depression, but not all the time. It's manageable most of the time. But yeah, it makes me want to stop being around people. It makes me want to stay in my safe little cloister of a home so that I don't have to feel those things. That's been a hard thing for me in my life, definitely, picking up other people's sadness. Because I'm enough of my own. So I don't, did we talk about what else is going on? I lost my comments for a minute. Sorry, guys. And yeah, picking up other people's feelings and emotions is probably the thing that made me, I tested INFJ 100 years ago, but I'm sorry. Walter says, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's how I feel too sometimes. I'm like, I'm so sorry that I'm like, that you're like this. Whenever I saw a title of new video, it just seemed exactly what's been in mind. You mean my videos? I find it kind of funny. I don't know what my Enneagram type is. I think I've I think I've taken that test a few times and it's always something different, but it is life-changing to find out. It is like um makes you feel seen or something. It makes you feel the first 50 years are the hardest. Oh, John. So I have 10 more years of the hard part and then I'm going to be good because I'm 40, and so I got 10 years and then I'm going to be good. I'm going to feel balanced. But yeah, finding out that you're an INFJ and not a crazy person, for me was like so, I can't even describe it. Like it was so like freeing. Like this is just, oh, this is why I'm like this. I'm not some, well, James, you're very brave making your videos. Thank you. I would really struggle. Um, yeah, it validates us to know. Validating. That is the word. Thank you, Walter. Validating. It's very validating to find out that you're an INFJ and not a crazy person. That you are not just this odd creature that is unlike everyone else because there's something wrong with you. I always thought there was something wrong with me, that I needed medication, therapy, all these different things. I I have heard some people call us aliens, and I don't really necessarily like that, but it is very validating to find out that we are normal in our own sense of normal. In our group of people, we are normal. Um, I've heard that I'm brave. I've heard before that I'm brave, and thank you. And because you see like a 15 or 10-minute thing, it makes it look like it's so easy. And in ways it is easy. It's gotten easier, but I do struggle. Unfortunately, there's this little thing in my head that tells me to stop all the time. That tells me that I'm making a fool of myself. That somebody's going to find out that you're a fraud. And I've made videos about that, and those things don't necessarily just go away because I talk about them. But the struggle is worth the result. You know, the struggle is worth it's worth the fruit of what comes out of it, you know. Also making comments. I try to answer all the comments. Sometimes I don't always have something to say because you guys are so intelligent. You just make me feel like I'm just this uneducated Midwest lady. From the day I find out what I wish I didn't, because finding people with such a common sense is a relief. Um, yeah. Yeah, what makes you feel to stop? Um, what makes me want to stop, I think sometimes is, yeah, the fear of being like found out or something. I don't know. Or just the fear that I'm making a fool of myself. That sharing all the things that have gone on with me and that with my hurts, that I'm going to disappoint people, and that I don't know. It feels, you know how you want, I made a video a while ago about searching for significance, and you know, all of my life I felt very insignificant, like I wasn't important. And it, making videos and having people watch them, appreciate them, comment on them, makes you feel significant. But at the same time, that significance gives you some fear because you don't want to, you don't, I despise status, you know, I despise people. I don't despise people, but I don't like the part of society that says you have to have this, and this to arrive. You can't just be good in your own self. And if the more subscribers and the more people that you end up with, and you know, viewing your videos and validating you, it's such a double-edged sword, because the more that that happens, the more that you're like, oh my gosh, this is what I wanted. I wanted to help people. I wanted to be a blessing to people. I want to share my heart because I've kept it in for so long. But at the same time, you're exposing yourself, and there's a lot of fear in that. And there's a lot of like seeing, if I watch my video back, you know, because I just talk for 20 minutes and then I watch my video back and I'm like, whoa, I actually said that. You know, that actually came out of me. And do I want the entire world to see that and either validate or criticize it? You know? So yeah, there is a struggle, an internal struggle. And I mean, at the beginning, there was a voice that was telling me, just shut up. Just shut up, Joy. Stop it. That voice has been silenced. But there still is a, you know, just a self-doubt that kind of comes in. So I think probably every person that is on this platform, no matter their type, goes through that as well. I don't know how the really huge YouTubers do it, if they actually read the comments. So far, did you see any comments that doesn't make sense or doesn't relate to you or INFJ's mindset? Well, yeah, because everybody is a little bit different. And, you know, even in this little group, we have 11 people watching right now. We're all going to have a little bit different mindset on things. So, yeah, there's definitely comments that I have not agreed with. And I always just, unless they're straight up rude, I just, you know, we don't all have to agree. You know, I know that I could raise I know my subscriber count would go up a lot faster if I stopped talking about my faith, but I'm not willing to do that. I know not everybody agrees with that, but that's just part of me. That's who I am. And yeah. Yeah, John, the words at the end of my video, I don't even know where I came up with that. I think I was making one of my videos and it came out of my mouth and I was like, I love that. And I have to really, yeah. So that, yeah, live and love out of the way you were created. I mean, it's so true. We have to just work with what we got, you know, work with what we were given. And I think what we were given is pretty great in a lot of respects, you know. If you would, if I ever get my husband on the channel again, you know, I'd love to do that. Just have just a flat conversation with him. He thinks INFJs are just the greatest thing in the, ever. I mean, well, he's loved one for 20 plus years. So he just thinks that we are like, so we need to celebrate ourselves is what he says, because we're really unique. You know, he always just says like guys like him are a dime a dozen, but then us, here we are, these like little creatures that are so different. He thinks that we're great, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's about being in the individual. It definitely is. And learning to be an individual. Blah, 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 blah. I never really fit in with the crowd anyway. I think a lot of us have that same story. You know, I never felt right to do what everyone else was doing always and just fall into line, I guess, and believe everything that someone else. I've always got to figure things out for myself, learn the hard way. I kind of always balance things back to what I believe in my heart to be right. And learning to do that in a way that serves me, I guess. I'm not sure. But yeah. Oh, it's been an hour, you guys. How does the time pass so quickly? Well, I suppose we just wrap it up for today. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this morning. And yeah, I will most likely we will have, you know, Monday video, Friday video, Monday live stream. I don't know if I'll do a midweek video. It depends on how busy I am at work and how it goes. Um, this was my best live session. Thank you, Walter. You're such a good cheerleader. I love it. Thank you. You encourage me to keep going. Yeah, I just started an Instagram a couple days ago. I am on Instagram. It's the same name as the channel, Joyous Prairies. It's one oh, I love you too. I appreciate you guys so much. It's just like such a surreal thing to have people that are similar and that get it. And yeah, but we'll be back live again next Monday. I'll try to do a post the night before to remember to tell you. And but otherwise, just plan on Monday. Bye, Jeremy. Have a good day, everyone. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.